Hi everyone, this is Deborah. The camera's a little crooked. I apologize. I got my little hair thing here. This video is about how do you know if you're depressed. A lot of people don't even know they're depressed. So let me give you some instances. Now, this is what I've had in my life and where I'm at now. And these are my opinions. I hope that you agree with some of them. I would like some input on this. I had a swimming pool in my backyard and I was so sad and depressed. I only got in it 4 times in like 8 years. And when you don't want to do activities that you know are fun, that is a sign that you're depressed. Also, if you're gaining weight or losing weight drastically, that is a big sign that you're depressed. If you go to bed crying, if you go to bed very stressed out, you could be depressed, and it could be anxiety ridden as well. If you're constantly dealing with battles every day and you are exhausted, a normal person who have no stress can deal with that, but if you're depressed, it makes it a whole lot worse. Also, I think high blood pressure contributes to a little bit of depression. If you don't want to answer your phone, now this is a big one. There were certain times in my life I would not answer the phone. That is very big. A lot of women and men who are manic depressive, they don't like to answer the phone. They don't want any interaction. They want to be left alone. If you are not getting out of the bed every day, that is a sign of depression. If all you want to do is sleep, yeah, that is not good. If you're biting your nails, that means you've got a lot of anxiety, and that could be because you're depressed. If you think there's no hope, and hope is such a big thing, if you feel that there's no hope in your life, that is depression. If you think you're the saddest person in the world, you're depressed. Now, there are some drugs out there that I've been on almost all of them, and the only one that did not have any side effects with me was Wellbutrin, and I really like that. That's the same thing as Zyban, what they help you to stop smoking. Another thing of depression is not taking care of your appearance. If you dread getting in that shower, or if you're not keeping up your appearance, you don't care what you look like, you don't care how you dress, that you could be depressed. If you don't get up with a spring in your step every morning, yeah, you could be depressed, or either you're in a lot of serious pain. If you have just given up on housework and you're not doing the daily, like everybody should do 15 minutes of housework every day. I mean, you got to get the trash out. If you don't even do that, you could be depressed. And also, if you don't, like I said, if you don't even feel like brushing your teeth or flossing, I just found out today that flossing, these people they did a test on, the older people that didn't floss, like bring on early Alzheimer's. That was just put in the news, CNN news today. But keeping up your appearance is, lets you know that you're happy, you know, if you don't mind getting up and, you know, putting on your face every morning or taking care of your skin. But yeah, loss of appetite or eating too much, you could be depressed. If you're constantly arguing, or just the opposite, if you could give a crap, you know, what anybody says or around you, you could have already like given up. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about with depression. I think at any one time almost everybody is, but it tends to run in families. It does run in my family, definitely. My mother told me once that my father was manic depressive. Now, I never seen that. I never hardly ever see my father because he worked every day, but he was sometimes very melancholy. He didn't play with us. He wasn't that kind of a dad. But yeah, I could see where he could be depressed. My mother never had time to be depressed because she was raising her all 5, and then their grandchildren lived with her on and off for many, many years. and I think my mother gave me the best advice when she found out I was depressed. She said, divorce your husband. I said, I can't, I love him. Well, people confuse love. I think if my spouse and I genuinely got along and loved each other, I'd still be married. But I think people change. But the minute I did start the divorce proceedings, it took 12 years for me to come out of it. I am now very, very happy. But going to a mental hospital, or whatever you want to call it, it gave me the skills to cope with life, and it also let me know that I was being abused financially, sexually, emotionally. You don't have to have someone strike you to be abused, because mental abuse is the worst. But yeah, I actually remember telling my therapist that I was the saddest person in the whole world. I went and had a lot of surgeries. I had a tummy tuck and lipo. I had a lot of surgeries because I wanted to not wake up after the surgery. That's how sad I was. But I am glad that I had the surgeries, and I'm glad that I woke up. Now, my niece said something this morning that she has no one. And I said, you're wrong. She goes, people come and leave out of my life. And I go, yeah, that's normal. You're going to have friends that come and go. But I said, you'll always have God. God will always be there for you. So, but don't ever be embarrassed about depression. And yes, there's still a lot of stigma to it. Don't get me wrong. People don't understand unipolar or bipolar. But I just think that, there are drugs out there that can help, but all of them have side effects. The only one, like I said, that didn't bother me was Wellbutrin, because all the other ones would not let my brain rest, and I would be up all night. So I remember I went to my brother's cabin for 2 weeks, and I was by myself. Number one, I learned that it's okay to be by yourself. I learned that I can have fun, that I don't always need a spouse or a boyfriend to make me happy. And I really think that if you think you're depressed, or you're depressed, go and find some place that you can go alone for a couple weeks. You need a couple weeks to find yourself. It is so true. I found myself during that trip. I remember taking long walks. And until you've lived by yourself for a while, you should never, ever get into a relationship. You have to learn to love yourself, or how can you love anybody else? So that little 2-week trip that I took did wonders for me. I learned a lot about myself. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. It's my last video of the month. So smile. I remember going into a grocery store in Ocean City, and I burst out crying in the vegetable section. And I go, I want somebody to come up to me and just hug me. And the tears were running down my face. I remember the first time I had to eat alone. I had never done that in my life. I've always been surrounded by family. And it was the hardest thing I have ever done, is to eat a meal by myself. But now I don't have a problem with it. I do it all the time. But yeah, you need that tranquility and that peacefulness. And so, happy 4th. Bye-bye, everyone.